Today, there are over 8 billion humans on Earth. Cities sprawl. Skyscrapers pierce the clouds. We've walked on the moon, but once there were almost none of us. Not a war, not a plague, not even an asteroid. Something else came terrifyingly close to wiping us out completely, because around 900,000 years ago, 99% of humans vanished. We shouldn't be here, but somehow we are. Chapter 1: The Ghost in Our Genes. In 2023, scientists analyzing modern human genomes made a shocking discovery. Hidden deep within our DNA was the signature of a genetic bottleneck, a period where our ancestral population dropped to as few as 1,280 individuals. That's smaller than a small town, less than a cruise ship. This bottleneck wasn't just brief, it lasted for over 100,000 years. During that time, Homo-sapiens ancestors were teetering on the edge of extinction. Nearly all human genetic diversity vanished. Every person alive today likely descends from just a few hundred surviving bloodlines. And yet, there are no mass graves, no cataclysmic fossil layers. So what happened? Chapter 2: Before we were human. Let's rewind. This crisis didn't hit Homo sapiens directly, because we didn't exist yet. Instead, it struck our ancestral species, likely Homo heidelbergensis, or a transitional form between Homo erectus and us. 900,000 years ago, our genus had already spread across Africa, parts of Europe, and Asia. We had fire, tools, and social groups. We were survivors, but Earth was changing, and not slowly. Something massive was unfolding. Chapter 3: Planetary Chaos. The Mid-Pleistocene Transition. The time period in question coincides with what geologists call the Mid-Pleistocene Transition, a dramatic overhaul in how the planet's climate worked. For millions of years, Earth's climate swung in 41,000-year cycles, cold, then warm. But during this transition, the cycles shifted to every 100,000 years, and they became far more extreme. Winters got colder, summers got shorter. Ice sheets advanced deeper into continents. Regions that had once been lush turned into barren wastelands. Migration paths were blocked by glaciers. Freshwater lakes disappeared. Animals that humans relied on, elephants, hippos, wild cattle, vanished from vast areas. It was like the rules of the planet had changed overnight. Chapter 4: The Killer Dry Spell. One theory gaining traction is that this bottleneck wasn't caused by just ice, but by drought. Fossil pollen and lake sediment data suggest parts of Africa experienced megadroughts during this period. Rainfall stopped, rivers shrank, grasslands turned to dust. Inland lakes that had supported entire ecosystems dried up completely. With food supplies vanishing and water becoming scarce, small bands of early humans would have been forced to roam wider. But the further they moved, the more isolated they became. Starvation, thirst, conflict, disease, and the end result? Collapse. Chapter 5: Genetic Evidence of Disaster. So how do we know this happened at all? The clue lies in what didn't survive. Compared to most primates, human DNA is remarkably homogeneous. Chimpanzees from one forest have more genetic variation than humans on opposite sides of the planet. That shouldn't be the case, unless something massive wiped out almost all of us. Advanced modeling based on mitochondrial DNA, Y chromosomes, and autosomal genes shows a steep drop in genetic diversity around 900,000 years ago. That drop lasted for over 100,000 years. We didn't just dip, we fell off a cliff and stayed at the bottom. Chapter 6: The Hunter hunter's paradox. Ironically, the traits that gave early humans an edge, curiosity, exploration, hunting adaptability, may have worked against them in a volatile climate. We ventured further, took more risks, spread thinner, and when the world turned hostile, there was no safe zone to retreat to. We became trapped in pockets. Family groups, once part of a larger tribe, became cut off without gene flow between them. Extinction became almost inevitable. The same versatility that once helped us expand nearly led to our demise. Chapter 7. The Last Families on Earth. Picture it, a vast empty world, snow and ice blanketing the north, bone-dry desert where rainforest used to be, herds of animals gone, forests silent. In this fading world, a few small bands of humans remain, maybe 50 here, 100 there, scattered, huddled around fires, children growing up never knowing another clan existed. Their world is predators, starvation, and survival, a game of attrition, one where every generation risks being the last. They would have no knowledge of what had been lost, no sense of crisis, just quiet desperation. Chapter 8. Why did we survive? What made the difference? Some scientists suggest that small, stable refugia, isolated areas that retained resources, were key, perhaps along river valleys, volcanic lakes, or coastal zones where the climate remained relatively mild. Other theories point to the development of language, or at least advanced proto-language. Groups that could communicate better may have coordinated more efficiently, raised young cooperatively, and passed on survival strategies. Even symbolic thought, rudimentary religion, ritual, burial could have helped with social cohesion. And in a near-extinction world, unity meant everything. Chapter 9. What if we didn't survive? Here's a terrifying thought. If that last group, maybe a tribe of 100, had suffered a single bad winter, we might not be here. No cities, no writing, no pyramids, no music, no internet, just silence. Humanity nearly joined the long list of extinct hominins: Australopithecus, Paranthropus, Homo naledi, Homo floresiensis, and no one would have ever known. We were one cold snap away from never existing at all. Chapter 10. The Second Brush with Death. Toba. Around 70,000 years ago, we almost vanished again. The Toba supervolcano erupted in Indonesia, one of the largest known eruptions in Earth's history. It spewed ash across Asia, blocked out the sun, and may have triggered a volcanic winter. Some researchers believe this caused another sharp drop in human populations. Genetic evidence from some lineages points to another bottleneck. Others argue the impact was more regional, but even so, it's another reminder of just how fragile we are. We were nearly erased twice. Chapter 11. The Echoes in Our DNA. The legacy of these near extinctions lives inside us. Our immune systems, our behaviors, even our fears, they all carry echoes of survival. Ever wonder why humans are so social, so good at storytelling, bonding, music, ritual? Because isolation meant extinction. Culture wasn't just expression, it was adaptation, a way to hold communities together when numbers were thin. And our low genetic diversity, it's not a glitch. It's a scar from a time we almost didn't make it. Chapter 12. Could it happen again? Yes. Climate change, global pandemics, nuclear conflict, AI. Any of these could trigger the next bottleneck. The question is not whether extinction-level events are possible, it's whether we're ready for them. Our ancestors had no tools, no science, no maps, but they had resilience. The challenge now is to match that ancient resilience with modern foresight, because history has shown us survival is never guaranteed. Conclusion: we shouldn't be here. 99% of our ancestors disappeared, and yet here we are. Every child, every language, every story, all from a handful of survivors who braved the void. They didn't know they were saving humanity, but they did. We are the children of the storm, and that storm may one day return. Don't forget to subscribe for more scientifically accurate stories from humanity's prehistoric edge. To uncover your next Jurassic Zoo mystery, click here.